I've been doing this, as I mentioned, I've been doing this for 8 years. My parents don't have an estate plan. It's not because I charge too much. It's not anything like that. It's just they feel like I'm bringing death upon them.
All right, we have Alex Trujillo here from TRU Legal. He is an estate planning and real estate lawyer, outstanding resource, someone that can help you put together your will, your trust, or even special needs trust. He really works. That's an expertise of his for working with kids with special needs or someone who's been catastrophically hurt. Reach out to him. He is in South Florida, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of very cool stuff, growing your business and also helping out the community.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
With your marketing and advertising background, what are 3 things that you've incorporated at your law firm to help grow the firm?
So the first one is just getting out there. A lot of, particularly in this day and age, we've lost that with that personal touch. So I'll go out, we'll have speaking engagements. I'll sit down with a few families. I'll go to a school and talk to parents about guardianship. It's not the same as a webinar. It's not the same as you're watching a recording. They get to see you. They get to feel you. At some point, they get to see you cry. You got to get real with them. So that's the first thing. Second thing that I will tell you from my day is customer service. It goes with the touch. It goes with the personal touch. But the touch of a handwritten letter is now gone. Okay, here's an email. Thanks for your business. Thanks for this. Here you go. We'll send an estate plan. Here you go. If you email them their parts. But suddenly a handwritten letter, a little note, something like that is gone. So you give that little touch, it's going to sit on their desk. They're going to appreciate it. They might pin it to their wall. They might put it by their fridge just because it's something different. But the third thing is that you can't be scared to be yourself. And I think that's the biggest one. A lot of people nowadays, whether the influencers or whatever, you meet them outside their space and they're completely different humans. There's a persona, there's a face that they have to put on because that's what society nowadays calls for. They want to see perfection. They don't want to see you mess up. Listen, we're all human. We are going to mess up. Live with it because we all make mistakes and we all learn from it. Now, if you want to just keep making the same mistake, you're an idiot. But with us, well, at least with what I've learned, be real. And that's the best gift you could ever give a client, best gift you could give your family, best gift you could give that stranger down the street.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed also is that, and just even through like this medium, like this videos that I post and stuff like that, like the feedback that I get is they're like, Eric, you're just like a normal person. Like, we appreciate that. Like, you're not like this stuffy lawyer. You're not that, like, you're just real. You know what I mean? And I think that is important. People need to be able to connect, you know what I mean, with the person that they're working with. Obviously, listen, when it comes to, persona, like I probably a very different person when I'm in a courtroom. You know what I mean? I'm going to command the courtroom in a certain way, but being able to just communicate and, but even with a jury, I mean, I try to be as natural and normal and myself as possible. But I guess myself in a courtroom is slightly different than,
Of course. I mean, same way if I'm having that, sad conversation with a family about, listen, what happens to your stuff when you die? Yeah. It's a real conversation. I'm not going to sit here and I try to keep it light, but I'm not going to crack jokes and say something along the lines like, hey, the only person that doesn't worry about this is an immortal. Clearly, none of us are. Or if I'm dealing with a special needs family, like, how do I get this family to understand, number one, that I'm with them. I'm one of them. But number two, it's like, you could go to sleep tonight. You could not do anything. Go to sleep tonight. God forbid something happens to you. How does your child get treatment tomorrow? And that's a very scary thought. So when you show that empathy and you genuinely care, that's everything a client wants and much more they need.
Your area of the law, when it's like estate planning, especially dealing with families and probate and what happens after someone dies and their will, it's those questions that scare people, you know what I mean? And you got to be able to give them the answers, you know what I mean? Because when you start to ask these questions, like you asked me just before, like, hey, if something happens to you, what happens to the business? And it's like, oh, whoa, let me stop and think about that. Like, what's the successor plan? What's the succession? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen next?
Right.
Because most people I think you're not thinking about death. You're trying to you live your life and avoid thinking about it. But then when you stop and you have to think about it, you got to plan ahead, you know?
I'm going to give you a very fun one for that one. We deal with a lot of, the Latino community down in Miami. So the majority of my clients are Hispanic. With your interactions with Hispanics, they don't like the topic of death. It's not particularly the males. That's not something they want to talk about. Not because they think they're immortal, they're never going to die. It's kind of like you're bringing the bad juju. So the perfect antidote to that is, and Eugene over there will attest to it. My parents, I've been doing this, as I mentioned, I've been doing this for 8 years. My parents don't have an estate plan. It's not because I charge too much. It's not anything like that. It's just they feel like I'm bringing death upon them.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not trying to bury you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it. It's a matter of me and my sister don't have to fight over your crap later.
Yeah.
But getting a client to see that and see the value of spend a little now. Again, estate plans aren't necessarily meant to bankrupt you. And it doesn't matter how poor or how rich you are. You need something because something of yours will pass on to the next generation. It could be a property. It could be a bank account. Heck, it could be your body. What do we do with your body? You should leave that written because after all, you worked hard for your money and your properties. Why do you want the state to decide? Why do you want a court to decide? You worked hard for your land. Same deal. Why let someone else decide? Go. You got it on your terms. Let it go out on yours. And as far as yourself, that's your last time, in my opinion. That's the last impression you will leave on your family. So whether you want to be cremated and spread your ashes out somewhere, whether you want to be buried, have a funeral. My will, believe it or not, it says I want Domino's tables at my funeral. That's my thing.
Domino's tables. Okay.
Domino's. I
Right.
play Domino's on Sundays and barbecue. That's my thing. Why is it going to? That's how I want to be remembered. That's on me. That's not on my wife. That's not on my kids. That's not on anybody else. That's what I want. So if I lived a life that way, why am I going to let someone else decide? And once you get that to a client, once you get that to a prospective client and they feel that they embody that, suddenly the conversation turns as to like, okay, no, screw that. I don't want someone else to make my decision. It's not that I don't want to face death. I just don't want someone else to make that decision for me. And that's super powerful once they see it.
Yeah, I like the idea of what you mentioned before also, just those little things, like just saying like I'm going to have Domino's Domino's at my funeral. Like that's what I want so that people remember me. And that's so important because like you said, it's the last thing that you're giving, right? Like in my mind, like sitting here right now, it's like I want my ashes spread out in like the ocean in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like take me to Hawaii and just dump me out there and I'll rest peacefully. But you'll also get a group of like your family to like take this trip, you know what I mean? And maybe plan out where they stay. And gosh, you think about the potential of what you can do with some of that end of life stuff.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, they struggle with it because they don't want to face that we are mortal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things that, particularly my special needs families, for example, we don't qualify for disability for our family. Income based, we make enough. Not every family has that luxury. But let's go back to my own. Right now, God forbid something were to happen to me and my wife. At the same time, if everything were to go straight to our kids and my son gets his division, suddenly that counts for income. Even though he's a minor, it still counts as income for him. He won't qualify for state benefits until that gets sorted out. That's where a special needs trust comes in. Money will be held. There's a trustee that will move the money accordingly. Doesn't count as income to him because the money is earmarked for his care.
Sure.
He gets state benefits, federal benefits, etc. Just for that, and I'll tell you, when I learned about this process, about the special needs part, I slept a little easier. I'm not telling you that every single worry leaves your mind. But something as small as I could go on a small trip with my wife for a weekend. God forbid, knock on wood, the plane crashes. At least I know that he'll be fine for the foreseeable future and then some. That's once you get into a parent, that it's not about you at that point. It's about how to make them comfortable. You do it in life. Why wouldn't you make sure you do it afterwards?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that to me, I think that's been one of the most rewarding things in what I do, because it is a hard topic. No one wakes up in the morning thinking, ooh, what do I do with my stuff when I die?
Let me step back just for a second, because I know that one of your expertise is in special needs trust. So just tell me, like, what is a special needs trust, and when is it going to arise? Like, who's going to need it?
So special needs trust is essentially, it is a function that earmarks your inheritance as only being able to be used for your care and well-being. So think of one of your clients. Let's just say you have a mass tort client. He's now a quadriplegic or now requires lifetime care.
Yeah.
He's probably going to qualify, or he probably can qualify for some state benefits, disability, etc. Not if he's sitting on a $5 million settlement.
Sure.
Because now he has assets that they're not going to give him. A special needs trust earmarks that money solely for your care. So we're talking about, let's just say remodeling a house or buying a home that is handicap friendly, making whatever modifications to it. You need a car that it's your transportation to keep for your care. You need a caregiver that insurance is not going to cover. You want a specific, caregiving service that your insurance isn't going to cover. That is all there. That all goes to that account. It doesn't count as income. Okay, you outlive it. There's a trustee in place that should kind of keep the funds going. So, the right investments, whether it's money market or something, conservative, but at least so it generates money. But long term, you should be able to survive off of that. And again, the whole point of that is you're keeping your benefits, you're keeping anything that's coming your way from the state, from the government. Because if you have income, as you know, suddenly SSI goes away, disability goes away, and people rely on that.
The funds that go in, so generally I think, is it the people that you're creating these special needs trusts for, these are people that have some sort of disabilities that they're going to be receiving governmental benefits, right? Something from the state. Is that typically what you see?
Yes. So the first thing that you're going to see, the first thing is that they're going to require care that the government can give. If I have a broken ankle, what is the state going to give me? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, they're not going to give me anything for that. That long-term care, maybe it's something chronic and I want to leave something for it. Sure. But when you're looking at these clients, you're typically looking at minors or, people with developmental disabilities. Or you're also looking at somebody that has some severe physical injury. With a severe physical injury, you're going to require care. So even in your practice, take, not to glorify, but take your goriest case that that this is a lifetime of pain that they're going to go through. They could qualify for disability because they can't work. They're not going to have any income generation. So what you do is you keep the money separate so it doesn't count as income for them. That money is earmarked specifically for their care. So their trustee is going to be like, all right, we need whatever therapy. Government doesn't cover it. You got it. Government covers it. Great. You still meet all the benchmarks that you meet all the income benchmarks that you could still keep receiving the services.
You brought up a good point, which for some reason it triggered, because I was thinking just for a few minutes that that like we're dealing with someone who has some sort of disability or someone who's catastrophically injured and they can't take care of themselves. So you have this special needs trust. There's a trustee. They're able to use the money for the benefit of the ward or whoever's been badly hurt. But you brought up the other point where it may be for a minor child. So my question is, now parents, something happens to parents, this money goes into this special needs trust to pay for this minor, right? And maybe the minor is able to get some other benefits. Is there a way that, like, when they become 18, that it no longer, like, they can come out of the special needs trust, or is it like irrevocable? Like, once it goes in the special needs trust, it's there for good?
So most of the time it's going to be there for good unless you no longer suffer the condition. So if you grow out, for example, I'll give you my example. My son is high functioning autistic. He's 7 years old.
Okay.
Right now he would need, my son goes to therapies, has different therapies throughout the week. That would probably be covered by the government if we weren't around, or it's, partially covered by our insurance, etc. At 18, let's just say he's high functioning enough to not require a guardianship proceeding to make his own legal decisions. Yeah. He could petition to clear out that trust because he won't need it anymore. Now, at that point, it's income, but you're also presuming at that point that he doesn't need that anymore.
I understand.
So same thing works for, same theory works for the kids.
Yeah, I think the critical thing that, and I see it in our cases where people are either catastrophically hurt or something bad, very bad happens to them and they need assistance, is that the key to it is that when that money goes into the special needs trust, it never hits the client's bank account. And so because it doesn't hit the client's bank account, it doesn't affect their government assistance benefits.
Correct.
Because a lot of times those government assistance benefits are based on a threshold amount of money that they're earning or coming into their
Correct.
account. So if they have, Social Security Disability or SSI, I think.
Correct.
And so that's critical. That's critical. I mean, a lot of times what we do in like minor settlements, which is somewhat similar, is if the kid is receiving some kind of benefit or something to that effect, we're able to put the funds into like an annuity.
Yep.
And that annuity never goes to the client. It goes directly to an insurance company, is put away, and in years from now, it's going to be paid out over time, which is a huge benefit.
Yes.
But there are other times where you can create a trust for these minors, and a special needs trust. And then I think when they turn 18, I'm pretty sure that we're able to, when they become majority, that trust can be dissolved. I think I'd have to double,
Right, I mean,
because we don't set that up. We bring in a trust lawyer,
Of course. And then here, remember, this is also at worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Like we're talking about no one can speak for them. They don't have, like their parents aren't around, because you got to fund that trust.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. Most trusts are funded upon a prerequisite action, death.
Yeah.
So our kids' trust will be funded upon our death. The beneficiaries of life insurance policies, et cetera, that all will empty in, but clearly the triggering event is both of us passing.
Yeah.
So particularly for minors, I've had the luxury of not having necessarily to worry about that yet.
Yeah.
I haven't had many clients with minors that have had any catastrophic situation occur.
Sure.
So at least, to all my clients that are going to see this, I love all your families. I'm glad you're all here.
Yeah.
I haven't had that issue. But I would presume the minute that issue does arise, you're going to have to make sure that all the ducks are lined up in a row. Be as specific as possible, depending on the condition. If they're minors, outline who the guardians are going to be. Because you're not going to do a guardian proceeding. You can't do a guardian proceeding just in case I die. That doesn't work that way. In your wills, you're going to sit here and determine who would you and your spouse would like to be, this kid's guardian or that kid's guardian or both kids' guardians. You're going to have to lay that out, because eventually it's going to have to go through the court system. The more specific you are with that, the better it is. And a lot of plans that I've seen out there aren't that nitty gritty. So you got to be careful what you're looking. You got to make sure your desires, no matter what they are. And this is going back to the dominoes theory. It doesn't matter what your desires are, no matter how big or how small. This is you. These documents that we prepare are you. This is somebody speaking after you can't. So be as specific as possible, or at least as specific as you can. And that's the biggest lesson of anybody that is going through this process, whether it's a special needs trust, whether it's a regular trust, just a will. Heck, just whatever other mechanism you got. Your desires have to be met. You're going to tell me, Eric, this is how I want to be remembered. This is what I want to do with my stuff. It's my job to legalize it. If you come in with that mindset, you'll be remembered the way you want to be remembered.
Yeah, I love it. I want to talk to me about TRU Legal. Okay, so it has kind of like it's an entendre on your name, right?
Yes, sir.
And but tell me just a little bit about it. And you've been having phenomenal growth for the past few years, so I want to talk about that. So just tell me about your business and what type of cases you guys handle.
So we're based in Miami Lakes. After COVID, I kind of became more of a concierge style service. I used to do strictly real estate for the first 3-4 years of our existence, and then COVID hit. Just like all of our business models that had to temporarily shift.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 months that the world had no clue what was going to happen, like from March to July of 2020. There was only one certain. It definitely wasn't taxes anymore, but death was a certain. So I did take, wills and trusts in law school. I had built some minor estate plans for some clients at that point. So I took the time, because we really weren't doing anything else. The market wasn't moving yet. Interest rates hadn't been completely dropped yet. So the market was still slow on the real estate side. I ended up taking a lot of continuing education classes, a lot of our CLEs on estate planning. Because the only thing that was certain at that point was a little ticker on CNN or Fox News of how many people had died that day. And I started realizing it along with some previous family turmoil long before I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm like, there could be some money here.
Uh-huh.
And I started going, kind of promoting that a little bit. And I started getting a lot of calls from older folks. We're talking about Century Village style, that wouldn't let me in their house, but they wanted to get something done. So I was signing estate documents on the bed of my truck with these clients outside, all masked up. I would leave it for them. And here you go, sign the dotted line. And they would step away. I would come in, check it. I remember those days. That's how I started. And then from there, I started developing more affinity. Once my son was diagnosed, I'm like, wait a minute, there's something else here. Because what does happen to my son if something happens to us? And I started learning a little more about special needs trusts. And I realized how ill-informed that community is. Because a lot of us we don't want to think about it.
Sure.
But the minute we do, we have no idea where to run. I didn't. The first version of my estate plan was completely wrong because I didn't take the special needs provisions into place. So from there on out, so we're talking about the last 3.5 years, I've been 80% on the estate planning side, 20 on the real estate side, because it's certain. We're all going. We all have the same. We all have an end date. We're just hoping that we could get your desires met before that end date occurs. So that's where TRU Legal. That's where we came about. And as far as TRU Legal, as you say, yeah, it is an entendre on my name. My last name's Trujillo. Some of the Anglo market has a little difficulty with that. So I don't remember. I was just like, I got to rebrand. I got to, bring in some type of cool factor. And one of my nicknames growing up has always been True. Again, my Anglo friends couldn't say my last name, so they just stopped at True. And I'm like, okay, so I could do Trujillo. Wait, TRU Legal. And it's same syllable, same everything as my last name, and it just rolls off the tongue.
It is. It's a cool name. It's a perfect law firm name.
And I will tell you, it's been great. It's been a little bit where I'm at right now within the law firm is creating that culture of we're serious, but we're relaxed. We're not trying to scare you into stuff. We're not a mill. Everything that we do, we try to do as a la carte as possible. Because again, I've kind of shifted to a very concierge style service. And I'd rather personally have great clients, even if it's a lesser amount, than a ton of bad clients. Because yeah, the money is better, but the headaches are worse if you start getting bad clients. So I've had the luxury of being able to pick and choose who I want to work with, and it's been great. I love all of my clients. Most of them have my personal cell. They don't bother me as much as some of the bad ones, and it's been a great ride.
It's interesting. You brought up a couple points, but one, it's funny. I give out I'll call people from my personal cell, and I would say 99.9% of the time, they don't reach out to me. They have my cell, but they don't reach out to me. They know they can reach someone in the office and someone's going to talk to them. And if it's emergency, they'll reach out to me, but very, very rarely. But I'm always happy. I know there's some lawyers that they have a separate cell phone or they won't give out their personal number to their client. And I respect it. I get it. But I always want to let them know, hey, if you really, really need me, I'm here. No matter what, you know what I mean? I'll answer the phone, and I answer it on the weekends and stuff if I need to. But I think that's like you said, exceptional service, those extra touches, you being there for your client.
Yeah.
Always, if some emergency arises, we're not doctors, that make you have to make an appointment, makes it impossible to see the doctor, call the doctor,
Right.
You mentioned something about COVID, and I wanted to talk about that because very, very, very interesting. And I wonder, because not everyone that I speak to, they pivoted, during COVID, when the world shut down for that 3 months. You brought up something that I want to ask pretty much everybody going forward is, what did you do during those 3 months? You know what I mean? You doubled down on an area of the law. Hey, I need to learn this stuff. I need to know this stuff. This is really important. It's at a mass scale. We're in Florida. It's, they're a very big elderly community here.
Yep.
I had just opened this law firm literally 2 months before, 3 months before, January 2020, I left my prior job, quit my job, got rid of the salary and all the benefits and the health insurance and all the other stuff. And I decided I'm going to open up Rosen Injury Law. And it was just me and a paralegal. And then the world shut down.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? And so like, and I had no, like I had zero, I think I had 0 clients. We might have one at the time, you know, and the world shuts down. And what do you do during those 3 months? And you brought up that you focused on what you were focusing on. And I remember for those 3 months, I just studied marketing. How do I get clients? How do I attract people to like let them know, hey, I'm really good at what we do, right? Like I've been doing this for a long time. I can handle any type of case, you know, car accidents, motorcycle, whatever it is. And I spent my entire summer watching YouTube videos on how to make YouTube videos. And then I'm not kidding, I watched like 1 million YouTube videos on what camera you should get, what audio you should get, what how to, you know, use the Apple computer to like splice up the videos. And I was like editing my own videos and creating YouTube videos that whole summer and just pumping them out because you couldn't meet with people. Like you said, you're able to, some people would meet me on the back of the truck. And I bet that was probably like later on in the summer, probably like November time frame. That summer, you weren't shaking hands or meeting with too many people, especially elderly people, you know?
No way.
And the way that
with a newborn at home, it's like, no, I'm good.
And a newborn at home, yeah. And the way that I stayed connected was creating these videos and just posting in subgroups and Facebook groups and Instagram and TikTok. And somehow, you know, it was a blessing that, like, you know, like a horribly tragic, terrible time for so many people. And then there's this group of people that kind of like had this time to hone in and focus, you know what I mean? Which is probably one of the reasons why your firm has thrived, is because you had those 3 months it shows the power of not grinding all the time. It shows the power of like when you're grinding and you're on that, you know, that hamster wheel and you keep going, you're working on all your cases, you're not focusing on the business, you're not doing this, like you're missing the sit down and like close your eyes and think for a little bit and like the strategy side of things.
It's just the world's gone. The world's sped up so much.
Yeah.
Even us slowing down, we're still going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
This is one of the few careers that you go home and you unwillingly take the work home with you. You're thinking about strategies, a case study. There's a new, like I know you guys had your PIP laws changed. You're going home and you're trying to figure out how to beat that. You had a client call and now you start playing Monday morning quarterback. How could we have handled that differently? It doesn't stop. It's not like we're a construction worker where, okay, the drill stopped, the jackhammer stopped, we're done. Yeah. We are constantly on the go. And I will tell you, those 3 months, I had no clue what was going to happen. I had a baby at home, wife was at home, and we're looking around and it's like, is this it? Not to the point of, is it the end of civilization, anything like that. Not doomsday scenario, but it's now what? Because our son likes to go, for example, he likes to go like to Dave & Buster's. We couldn't go. We're at Disney roughly every other week.
Yeah. We
couldn't go. So is it the end of life as we know it? Are we talking about like, now we're going to be bubble people? We didn't know. So since there were so many variables, and I know you remember that probably much more than me because you didn't have a practice at that point.
Yeah.
You got to start going with the certain. So the same way when you do marketing, you're marketing to the masses. You are marketing to not that little tiny 1.5% of the population that might be interested. No, you're going to always market. You're going to throw your money. You're going to throw your interest at what interests half the population? What interests 75% of the population? Well, there was only one thing that was certain then, because if you're dead, you ain't paying taxes. And it was death at that point. So what can I do? If I know that number's going up, what can I do? I wasn't going to open a funeral home. That wasn't in my wheelhouse. But if that fear that society had, that disconnect, this was actually my opportunity to bring people back to humanity. Because the minute you start discovering your mortality, you're going to be real quick at, wait, who loves me? Who doesn't? Who do I love? Who do I care for? That starts coming down. That's where the empathy starts coming in.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's been a big change. I know professionally we've gone through changes. I was enjoying going to court on Zoom all the time when I was taking smaller lit cases.
Yeah.
Now, depending on where you're at, there's no Zoom anymore. Now you have to go into court in some jurisdictions. that even kills the vibe because,
Yeah.
We're both lawyers. We could be opposing counsels. Yeah, we're going to zealously represent our clients. But we could still go have a beer after because you don't know if tomorrow I could work with you on something, refer something to you.
Yeah.
That became a lost art. And that's something that I think, particularly the older generation, is trying to bring back. Whether it's speaking engagements where you're having a lot of networking sessions. I have a colleague of mine who does something called Wine and Wills. She rents out a winery in Miami Lakes and gives conversations about wills and trusts, etc. I think that's freaking brilliant. That's amazing. Have those interactions because at the end of the day, that's the only way you create memories. That's the only way you truly create a legacy. Yeah, money's great, but I guarantee you they're going to comb right through it as soon as they get it. Have those touch points, and that's what creates the memories. That's what creates what people ultimately remember.
Yeah. Yeah. And relationships too. You got relationship building.
Yeah.
So the wines and the wills, is it like a marketing thing where she's meeting, is it the public or is it other lawyers? What is it?
She invites the public.
She invites certain people.
So she'll advertise it and
Got it.
She'll bring people in and it works for her. She's a very well-spoken, individual and it works for her.
Does your law firm TRU Legal for let's just say in the marketing side of things and again, marketing it's such a broad thing, but are there things like that you're doing to help grow your law firm that you've seen work?
So definitely the more hands-on, the better. At that point, the more that I could get into your story. So I couldn't care less if I'm talking to a group of elderly folks, if I'm talking to a group of special needs parents, if I'm talking to a bunch of young professionals. As long as I could connect with the group and be like, this is why this is important to you, and they feel that vibe, that's to me what works. I have a business developer whose job is to just get me in front of people. So in a given week, I'll speak to 15 special needs parents at a high school. Their kids are about to turn 18. We have to start having that guardianship conversation. We'll talk to, we'll go to a special needs gym that we do a lot of work with, and I'll throw a little seminar there. Hey, this is what you guys should be looking out for. Whether your kids are young or old, these are things we should be looking out for. We'll go and deal with real estate agents, mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
You're dealing with older clients. So who is your client? Is it that overzealous kid that keeps calling and he wants to sell it? Or is it the very timid older parent who is still very lucid?
Yeah.
Imagine who is it? How do you determine which it isn't ultimately the realtor's problem, but how can you determine? How can you spot those red flags? If you have an old person that is shaking like Michael J. Fox and still thinks that Nixon is president, but they're signing your listing agreement, you have a problem.
Yeah.
You're going to walk yourself into a problem. So we start giving those conversations to a lot of real estate firms. My social media is now started. I've cleaned it up a bit. Now we're going to start activating it a little more because I do have to jump into this social media fray. I was always that guy like, I don't need a dating site. I don't need any of this. I like that touch point. I'll go pick up a girl. I'll go this, I'll do that. That's always been me. So getting me in front of people, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in front of a stage. I'm comfortable, on a one-on-one scenario.
Yeah.
I'm fine. But now, like the same advice I gave you got to cater to the masses. There's no way in heck I could hit the masses one-on-one.
I'll tell you what you could do. Since we're having this conversation, I think it's going to work, okay? It's gonna work.
Right.
Since you do these things like once a week, right? You got to get a videographer, okay? Bring Zach, bring somebody, whoever it is, okay? Like your social media, it doesn't have to be you sitting there in front of a camera doing a talking head like, this is what you do if you have an estate planner. This is what you do if you need a special trust, okay? You just have your videographer there every time you go and you do one of these speaking engagements. They get the footage, they zoom in, they get close-up shots of you sitting there talking, giving that tip to a group of people, okay? Then they cut it. It's a 1-minute video. Boom, there's a video. And you could probably, every single time you go and you give a talk to like a group of people, every single time, I guarantee you probably put like 5 separate great pieces of advice out for people that would get everyone thinking in that group. And now you just put it up you got 5 videos, right? Once a week you post them, or twice a week you post them. But if you're doing it once a week and you're going out, or even once every other week to do these speaking engagements, I mean that's what we do here right now. I mean, we're going to have a couple clips of you, just the splices, you know what I mean?
Right.
That becomes the content. But if you want to do social media and have make it easy on yourself, you're already doing it. You just need someone videotaping.
Correct.
It, right? So I don't know. Just a thought, man.
Listen,
I always love having these conversations because it's like this podcast. Okay, we used to be called Law with Eric. We're rebranding it. It's Reputation for Winning, right?
Okay.
So you want to build a reputation for winning in your community, and this is what we do, right? And so we're going beyond law,
right?
Because we have lots of different types of influencers and stuff, but that's what this conversation is about. That's why I ask you, what are the 3 things that are helping you grow, or what you learned in marketing? Because we want people to be able to watch it and see, these are some of the steps that very successful people are doing to grow businesses. Yeah. Right. And to be happy in life, to be prepared in life, Yeah.
I mean, listen, you have to build a quality of life. At the end of the day, you and I didn't go into this to be on the rat race. We could have just been, we could have worked for another firm, been just, one of the numbers. We could have had, lesser degree jobs. We didn't have to go struggle through school, etc. We're doing this because we want a certain quality of life. And now I'm hitting a personal and professional point that it's starting to matter. My time I'm starting to evaluate my time differently. So how much more time I want to spend with the family. If I want to leave for 2 weeks, that my firm's operating account better keep growing while I'm gone.
Yeah, sure.
So now that's starting to take into place. So now all the marketing knowledge that I once used to use for different firms and different companies, now I'm applying here, but I'm learning the same way you are. I'm learning, okay, what works, what doesn't, what's a viable marketing plan in the scope of social media. Yeah. So the same thing you had mentioned of, I'm going to have a videographer go out to one of my speaking engagements. Yeah. That's 5 posts. Okay, cool. That's 2 weeks worth of content. With a couple little, tidbits in between. Right now I have my at least to clean it up. I have, a couple of little static posts there. Yeah. Nothing glamorous yet, but it's coming.
It's one bucket. It's just one bucket. Because I do think, truthfully, I think your one-on-one going out to these groups, I think that is by far the most beneficial. And I guarantee you that out of everything that you ever do, you're going to see the most clients are going to, the most organic clients are going to come from those experiences. Yeah. It's not going to be from, maybe if you do pay-per-click and stuff like that on Google, but those are going to be really good, reliable clients that are going to come to you. They trust you. They like you. Then from there, you're going to start seeing, and I don't know whether it's going to be who it will be, because I don't know whether you're going to up it to targeting a group of people, but other lawyers are going to be seeing you speaking, Yeah. It's like if you swipe through TikTok or whatever, there's just a few. There's only 3 or 4 that kind of just pop up, and it's like, oh, I recognize that guy. He's that family divorce lawyer. And maybe at some point you might say, what state is he in? You know what I mean? And something comes across your desk. It's in Oklahoma or wherever. And you're like, oh, that's that guy. You know what I mean? Right. It happens. It takes time. But the static posts, man, I don't know. They're not. Oh no, that's just it's just a presence. You know what I mean? Right.
And again, it's a matter of now we've grown enough that we can now be intentional with this space. It's one of those, like you're saying, I'm just maintaining a presence. It's there. It's more so nobody takes the name on Instagram. Yeah. But now let's be intentional. So, big plans are coming in 2026. They'll see a lot more of me on that space. We're going to be out a lot more in the market. We've done a lot of farmers markets in the areas.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
It's more just, listen, again, I don't have, my messages are very to your face. One of the sides of our tent says, what happens to your stuff when you die? Yeah. You imagine walking through a farmer's market on a Saturday morning and that's the sign you see? That's the exact reaction we get. Yeah. It's like, oh God, I don't know, and then, but the fun part is that you see, the husband will look at it. It's like a couple walking by. The husband was like, ugh. The wife's like, Most of our engagements are with women because women have that maternal instinct. They want to make sure that their flock is taken care of. Yeah. So the husband might walk away and the wife will come and is like, so I need a will or a trust or something. Like, what do I got to do? Here's our card. Let's go. Let's set this up. Let's set up the intake and we get going. Sure. That's typically how that works at a market. We also try to do our markets surrounding events. So we'll do we had a Halloween market. The week before Halloween, we were at a farmer's markets. We had a face painter designing, whatever, painting the kids' faces to whatever superhero mask they wanted. We had a couple things and they were taking pictures. We are going to do one for Christmas. So we'll have a Santa Claus there. Or,
I love it.
Something like that, just to get people, listen, I don't need you to use me. And at the end of the day, I am I filthy rich? Is money coming out of my pockets? No.
Yeah.
I want you to use me. I want you to want to use me.
Yeah.
I don't. And how are you going to want that? You're going to like me. You're going to like my staff. You're going to have a great experience with us. Hopefully you enjoy ours, and then you go tell your family because, hey, now that's one less stress you got. And as things start going on, the best I could do and the best I could hope for is you yourself have gone through some massive growth. The best you could hope for is that you still keep that mantra, that culture that worries about the client first, not about the pocket.
Yeah. It's actually like in our mission statement, we're going to grow and expand each year while never compromising our core values. That's it. And we say it every single Friday at every single meeting. But so we talked about this earlier a little bit, but there's a lot of lawyers and small law firms that watch this podcast. Do you work with a coaching company or someone that is helping you with the growth, and how has it worked?
So I belong to a group called How to Manage a Small Law Firm. They are a business development group for lawyers. So the biggest thing that you'll get from them is the fact that most lawyers, I'm one of the exceptions because I had a business degree prior to being a lawyer, but most lawyers are crappy business people. We could teach people to get rich, but we don't follow our own advice. So anything as simple as your standard operating procedures. How do you design those? Why do you design those? How do you hire the right people? Wait a minute. What's the right marketing campaign? Bookkeeping. They are fractional. The service that you get from them is they could give you a fractional CEO. Now I have someone to bounce off. I have a fractional CEO. She's amazing. I have a fractional chief sales officer who handles my business development side. He takes care of my staff reports to him. He reports to me. All in all, it's helped me build a business. I have a good track of what my numbers are. I know what my profit and loss statements are, which most small companies don't look at. They just look at their operating account. Okay, cool. We got money today to cover the bills. Next. We get to forecast. And then on top of all that, plus on the business side, you also get the mindset side. We get to learn to get out of our own way. We get to grow as humans. So it's kind of, excuse me, it's kind of having, you have a life coach on your shoulder if you need it. Some of us do. Some of us have a lot going on in life that we can't put 100% of our mind onto the business. Some of us are terrified to hire people. Some of us are terrified to fire people.
Yeah.
They walk you through all of that, and I've been a member for 3.5 years now, and it's been great. It's been amazing. The growth that they've helped me, I've basically grown 100% year over year since I've been with them.
That's unbelievable growth.
I know companies that have gone 6x in a year, 600% growth in a year. I know companies that when I started 3 years ago were grossing, they were grossing $800,000, $900,000 in revenue. Now they're up to like 6 or 7 3 years later. You need that guidance. And something about lawyers, some of us have a God complex.
Yeah.
We need to be able to ask for help. And they will give you what you need. Now, whether you follow it or not, that's on us. All of us, we could be told to go to the gym every day, go to this every day. If we don't listen to the advice, we don't listen to the advice. But they know what they're doing. And it's been a great help for me and a bunch of colleagues of mine here in South Florida.
There's definitely a common thread when it comes to how to manage a small law firm with the other lawyers that I speak to who either have been on this podcast or that I know. The common thread is it works. If you actually put the time in and do what they're telling you to do and follow their instructions, you will definitely see growth. I think it's tremendous growth. And I think there's other companies like Atticus. If you really just focus on it, and I don't want to say it's a regret. But if it was advice that I could tell my younger self, and so if there's like a law firm, a lawyer that's just opening their firm, they're just coming out, like, they're trying to figure out where should they put their money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? For some, like that young, brand new lawyer who's opening their law firm, they're going to be really careful about where they're putting their dollars. Like, and I remember looking at the price tag when I came out, and I was like, I'd rather put it somewhere like over here, like in pay-per-click, or over here in whatever, to try to generate business. If I can go back in time, I would have brought on a company like that as like 1,000% just to start, right? Because that, having the guidance of someone who's already done it before, and not only have they done it before for like, just for, not for themselves, but like, how many other law firms, they've had the experience, they've seen the heartache. Like, you could save so much time and money and effort if you just listen. Hire one of these companies to help you build your law firm. Don't do it on your own. I mean, I could probably sit down with someone and help them, guide them through, because I've probably spent $500,000 in the wrong place. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's gone. I burned through it and all these different things. And gosh, had I listened to, like, initially very early on, brought in a company like that and said, hey, I need help, and they would have given me the guidance from the beginning. And I'm at a point right now where I have a COO, and she's been working with law firms for a very long time, and I've always been like a student of it. I worked with Atticus for a while, so I've always been very, trying to really make sure, hey, I know where the leads are coming from. I know what, how much money I'm spending on marketing dollars, and we have, different reports and tables that I could look at, and charts and stuff, and we have great software. It's so important for the growth of the business, just to have a pulse on everything that's happening. But I could, just what you're saying, there is a common thread. The common thread is get help. Don't do it on your own.
And the funny part is, okay, so I joined in 2023, and the complete and utter irony of this is that someone had approached me in 2021 when I was in the midst of expanding this or getting into this estate planning stuff. And I'm like, I don't have the money right now because I'm putting it in, like, I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. I highly regret not doing it 2 years earlier. Right now, you'd be looking at a completely, financially different version of me.
Sure.
Had I, let me take a step back.
Yeah.
One thing that I should have done, and I'll tell you from day one, at least growing pains, I didn't treat the law. I treated the law firm like my baby. I didn't treat it like my mule, and that's an expression that we have at HTM. Treat it like your mule. It works for you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So I've coddled my license. Oh my God, don't do anything bad.
Yeah.
Don't hire people. It's okay. No one can do it better than me. Yes, trust me, a bunch of people can.
Yeah.
And the best part, those are the ones you hire.
Yeah.
But that mindset shift doesn't occur without guidance, without help, because that doesn't naturally, spring up on everybody. A lot of us, your first mentality is, and I don't know if it happened to you and when you opened here or at any first business venture. My first business venture wasn't my law firm, but my first business venture was a blueprinting company, and I was like, wait a minute, if I hire employees, that's money lost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a problem. It's a bad mindset.
It's a bad
terrible
mindset. It's while they're printing the copies and doing minimum wage work, I could have been out selling.
Yeah.
That's the best use of the time. So I've taken that over the years, and I'm not perfect at it yet. We're getting there.
Yeah.
But it's much, very needed for a young law firm owner. Heck, if you're about to go solo, a couple of quarterly meetings ago, somebody had just quit or put in their notice and went to the meeting. So they had just put in their notice. They went to the meeting, signed up, and I'll be starting my firm on like Monday or Tuesday. It's like, well, you're ahead of the game. I'm curious to see where that member is now.
Yeah.
But hell, I should have done that.
Yeah.
A lot of us should have done, because we don't know the answers.
Yeah.
We really don't. As much as we want to, we don't know.
I was, you said you don't read books. I hate reading books, but there's a couple that I've read that really helped out. Right when I opened my own law firm, you go on the Facebook group and say, hey, what's a really good book that's going to help me with business? There was one, E-Myth Revisited, is something that comes up often. And it just the idea that, like, you can't be everything. You shouldn't wear every hat. If you're going to run a business, you should figure out what's your strength. And then are there going to be people that are going to do the technical work? Are there going to be people that are going to be the managers? And then who's going to be the entrepreneurs? And you need to be able to figure out where each person should be. so that you're not doing everything, because if you're doing everything, you can't grow. It's
Right.
it's almost it's I think almost impossible to grow. That, and then there's another guy, Dan Martell, and I think it's Dan Martell. Buy Back Your Time is his book. And I think I've listened to probably half of it, because a lot of stuff, you get lost in the weeds and all these stories and stuff. And I think just the bottom line is like, listen, it's good to spend money on other people working on your business. Like, don't worry about, like, you're so worried about giving away like some of the income, some of the profit, but give that away to somebody else, and it's going to help grow and free up your time so you can focus on what's most important, whether it's growth or whether it's managing or whatever it ends up being.
Right, because at the end of the day, look, the math that it's counterintuitive at first, but right now, okay, we're lawyers. Let's just say we work 40 hours a week. It's counterintuitive. Okay, we're going to hire someone, not look at it as, okay, it's going to cost us, a mid-level associate is going to cost us $100,000 a year or $10,000 a month, whatever the number we're going to put on it. But now that associate gives you another 40 hours. What you're looking at, you're investing 10, without getting too technical, but whatever we bill an hour, whatever they're going to bill an hour, it's going to cost you $10,000. Can that associate get you that money back and then some?
Yeah.
On those $10,000 you're paying him? If the answer is yes, then hire him, because now you're talking about 80 hours of work.
Yeah.
Will an extra 40 yield you $20,000? Yes. If it does, then $10,000. I'll spend $10,000 every day to get 20.
Yeah.
So would anybody else that's looking at it from a commonplace. Just the minute you put money on the table, you start shaking.
Yeah, it's hard for some people. It is hard for some people.
But once you see it, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing where TRU Legal ends up, and I know you're in this process of expanding and growing, and I know you're interested in going into sports and entertainment, and that'll be the next, the future down the line. But I appreciate you coming into the studio and talking about your law firm. How do people get in touch with you?
Eric, they could reach out to us on our Instagram at TRU Legal, or at TRU Legal, and then they could also reach out to us via our website, www.trulegal.net. We have links there. Phone number, emails, etc. Or you could also just call us at the office. Somebody will pick up 305-419-4940. And it's either me, my assistant, business development. Somebody's going to get to you, and they'll make sure that we take care of you right.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome.